I've always had vivid dreams, but last month, something changed. It began with what I thought was just a nightmare, except it kept happening every single night. The dream always started in my childhood bedroom, though I haven't lived there in over 10 years. Everything was the same. The beige carpet, the glow-in-the-dark stars stuck to the ceiling, and the heavy oak-framed mirror across from the bed. That mirror was real. I remember my mom getting it from an antique store when I was 7. In the dream, though it wasn't just a mirror, it was a door. The first night it happened, I was sitting on my old bed, paralyzed. The mirror started to fog from the inside, as if something was breathing behind the glass. Then a black hand, long, bony, with fingers, too many pressed against it. It didn't break through. It just stared at me. I say it because I felt a presence behind that hand, watching me, thinking. When I woke up, I was sweating and freezing cold. My fiancée Mira said I had been murmuring something. She wrote it down on her phone at 3:13 a.m. It said, "Don't let it in this time." I laughed it off. Maybe something I'd watched before bed. Maybe stress. But then it happened again. And again. And the thing started whispering. By the 7th night, I stopped brushing it off. The dream evolved. Now the mirror bled. Black, thick, liquid oozed from its frame and dripped onto the carpet. The fog behind the glass turned into a swirling darkness, live, throbbing like a heartbeat. And this time, the mirror opened. Not like shattering, more like stretching. Like skin being pulled apart, and it stepped through. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a shadow. It wasn't a person. It was tall, humanoid in shape, but wrong too smooth, like it was covered in skin that didn't belong to it. Its face had no features, just a suggestion of eyes that pulsed when they looked at me. When it reached for me, I woke up gasping. This time, something followed me back. I know how that sounds. Illusional. But hear me out. There was black smudge on our bedroom mirror. Like a handprint. I hadn't touched it. Mira hadn't either. Same size, same twisted fingers. I went to a sleep specialist. They chalked it up to recurring night terrors. Gave me pills. One night, I decided not to sleep at all. Stayed awake with coffee and lights on. But sometime around 4 a.m., I must have blinked. Because when I opened my eyes, I was back in that room. The creature was inches from my face. It whispered in a voice that sounded like my own, only layered with something else. The more you fight, the closer I come. The final night changed everything. I dreamt again, but this time, I wasn't in the room. I was inside the mirror, watching myself sleep. The real me, in our apartment, curled in bed, stood beside the bed, staring down at Mira. I screamed. I banged against the inside of the glass, but it was like I didn't exist. I was trapped, powerless. Then the thing turned its head slowly and looked directly at me, not at the sleeping me. At me, inside the mirror. It smiled. Or did something like it. When I woke up, I was lying on the floor in the living room. Mira wasn't home. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from her mom. I called back, shaking. Her voice cracked. She never came to work. Her phone's been off all day. Have you seen her? The bedroom door was closed. It shouldn't have been. I walked to it slowly, heart slamming against my ribs. When I opened it, I knew something was wrong. Everything was covered in that same oily blackness. The handprints on the mirror, the bed, the floor. but no mirror, no signs of struggle. Gone, and on the mirror, something was written. Backwards, so I had to read it through the reflection. Greater than she let me in. It's been 3 weeks. No trace of her. Police questioned me, searched the apartment. They found nothing except one thing. A photo on my phone from the night she disappeared. I don't remember taking it. It's a selfie. I'm asleep in bed, and standing behind me is a figure. Tall, smooth, smiling. I don't sleep anymore, but the dreams still come. Only now, I'm not the one dreaming. Dreams had never bothered me much. They get the usual flying nonsense, or the occasional being late for an exam panic, but they were never intense. That changed 2 months ago, after a long and exhausting work trip. I'd been staying in a corporate hotel in Bangalore. Nothing fancy. But that's when the dreams started, and I swear on my life, it wasn't just a dream. It began with me walking down a hallway in what looked like a dimly lit apartment building. The wallpaper was peeling. The air had that moldy, suffocating feel, and all the lights flickered like they were on life support. I was barefoot. I remember the feeling of the cold, sticky floor under my feet. Every time I tried to look behind me, my head wouldn't turn. It was like my neck was frozen. That at the end of the hallway was a green door with the number 9C painted in red. Not brass numbers paint, like someone used a child's finger to write it. Something told me to turn around and leave. But in that dream logic, I couldn't. My feet moved on their own when I opened the door. The apartment inside was pitch dark, the kind of dark where even your hands disappear. I stepped in, and the door slammed behind me. Priest, I was surrounded by whispers, barely audible, like static mixed with breath. Then came the sound I'll never forget, a wet, dragging noise, like something pulling itself across the floor. I couldn't see anything, but I felt it, right behind me, coming closer. I woke up screaming in the hotel bed, soaked in sweat. But here's the thing, I looked at my feet. They were covered in dust. And my heel had a small cut, like I'd stepped on something sharp. That was night 1. Asterisk. After I got home, I started journaling my dreams. My therapist had once told me it helped with anxiety, but every night it was the same dream. Same hallway, same green door, 9C. Each time I got further inside the apartment. On the 3rd night, I found a kitchen. The appliances looked decades old, covered in grime. On the counter was a plate with raw meat and flies. I could smell it. That's how I knew it wasn't just a dream. The smells, the sounds, the coldness, it all felt too real. I took a photo of my notebook entries and sent them to my friend Nia, who's into lucid dreaming and the occult. She immediately called me. Greater than don't go back there, she said. Dreams like that, recurring spaces with no control. That's not a dream. That's a shared construct, a spiritual place. Some call it a trap. I didn't know what the hell she meant, but she sounded afraid. I tried staying awake, a tease, around, even slapped myself a few times, but I dozed off on the couch around 4 a.m. this time. I made it to the living room of apartment 9C. The wallpaper was a strange shade of pink, but it was peeling off like old skin, and on the couch was a woman, or what looked like one, sat with her head down, hair over her face, gently rocking. I couldn't move. I couldn't even blink. The only thing that moved was her head, which slowly tilted toward me, revealing a grotesquely stretched mouth, sewn shut with what looked like thread from inside her own body. Then she whispered without opening her mouth, "You've been marked. You let the door open." When I woke up, there were scratch marks on my back. 3 deep red lines, like someone had clawed me. I live alone. My bedroom door was locked from the inside. I started doing some research digging. Deep into forums, dream maps, even darknet dream logs. Yes, that exists. One user said they visited a place called 9C, too. When I messaged them, the account was suspended an hour later. But then came the worst part. One day after work, I took a different route home. As I passed an old semi-abandoned apartment building, my stomach twisted. Something called to me. I don't know why I went in. I just felt like I had to. The hallway was the same one from my dream. Same flickering lights, same moldy air, and at the end, 9C. The door was real. Painted red numbers, faded green wood. My heart almost stopped. I ran, didn't look back. But when I got home that night, my apartment door was ajar. I never leave it open, and on the inside, scratched into the wall with something sharp, was a message. You made it real. That night, I didn't dream. I woke up in apartment 9C, no bed, no light, just me on the floor, and the woman closer now. She wasn't sitting anymore. She was standing over me, threads hanging from her mouth like spider silk. She whispered, "Greater than. Next time, you won't wake up." I screamed myself awake. Or at least I think I did. Now, every time I sleep, I wake up in 9C. A little longer each time. I'm afraid one day, I won't come back. I keep my lights on, my TV loud, but sleep always finds me, and that door waits. I used to think nightmares were just your brain's way of flushing out garbage thoughts. You wake up sweating, freaked out, but it's over. A bad movie your mind plays while you rest. That was before I started dreaming of her, the first night. It happened. I had fallen asleep on the couch, watching some documentary. The TV had gone to static white noise blaring. I woke up around 3:12 a.m. to the hiss of that noise, and something else. A faint tapping sound. The screen glitched. Just a flicker, but I saw it. A face. Pale. Wide eyes. Black hair stuck to the sides. A woman. She wasn't on the TV. It was like she was behind it, then gone. I shook it off, blamed it on exhaustion. I turned the TV off and went to bed. That night I dreamed I was standing in the middle of my living room, same as real life, only the room was darker. The light ... wrong. The TV turned on by itself. Static again, and she stepped out of it, not like crawling or fading in. One frame she wasn't there, the next she was. Her body moved in stop-motion jerks, like broken film. I couldn't scream, couldn't run. She reached out a hand. It wasn't blood on her fingers. It was ash. And when she touched my chest, I felt burning, like something inside me had caught fire. I woke up gasping, clutching my shirt. My skin there was red, like a burn. The dreams got worse. Every night, I'd fall asleep and find myself back in that same version of my apartment. The TV always turned on. Static always played. She always came, but she got closer. To each night, closer. One night, she whispered something, but her mouth didn't move. "You brought me through. You looked too long." I started researching sleep paralysis, lucid dreams, even hauntings. Found a few stories on deep Reddit threads about people who saw her through static after 3 a.m. One guy said he left his TV on, and she crawled through and stayed. No follow-up. Account deleted. I unplugged my TV, tossed it into my building's dumpster. But it didn't help. The next night, I didn't see the TV. I saw my bedroom. Mirrors start to fizz with static. She came through it this time, and she spoke in my voice. Whispered the same thing I said when I first saw her. Greater than what the hell is that? I woke up to find a smear of black ash on my bedroom floor. I don't smoke. I live alone. And my window was locked from the inside. 5 nights ago, I stayed at Pat, a friend's place, just to escape it. No electronics in the guest room. No mirrors. Okay. She laughed when I told her thought I was writing horror for fun. I didn't tell her everything. Not yet. I fell asleep faster than I wanted. This time, I wasn't in my apartment. I was in a room made of TVs. Hundreds of them. All static. All whispering her name. I didn't know it until I heard it over and over. Greater than Lalitha. 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 She was everywhere, flickering across the walls and parts. Eyes in one screen, T's in another. And her voice now sounded like mine, but layered with others, like hundreds of people were trapped inside her. Speaking through her. Then the TV started, showing me, asleep, in my friend's bed. She stood next to my body. I screamed at myself, too. Wake up. And I did. But my friend was standing in the doorway, pale as death, shaking. She said I'd been sleep-talking, but not in English. Not in Hindi either. She recorded it on her phone. I asked her to play it. It wasn't words. It was static. Loud, sharp, glitchy static. And underneath it faintly you could hear, greater than you're already dreaming. I haven't slept since. I don't think I'm awake now. I hear the static all the time. In fans. In power lines. In silence. And sometimes, in the reflection of my phone screen, I see her watching me, smiling, waiting. I used to think dreams were private, your own mental playground. But in November last year, I learned something I can't unlearn. Some dreams aren't yours, okay? Some places you visit and sleep don't belong to you. It started with a recurring dream I had while recovering from a viral fever. I'd drift off and find myself walking down a long white corridor. Completely stairwells, floor, ceiling, no marks, no shadows, no windows. Like a hospital stripped bare. There were 3 doors at the end of the hallway. The first on the left said "Do not open." The second was shut tight, no handle. The third, it was wide open, leaking a strange red glow. I don't know why I never went through the first or second. I always walked through the third. The first time, the door led to a room full of mirrors. No frames, just seamless glass on every wall. But when I looked into them, my reflection didn't copy. It moved just slightly off. A twitch, a blink. A smile I didn't make, and then it whispered, "Greater than welcome back, Arav." Told my name to anyone in the dream. I wasn't speaking in them, but it knew. That was the first night. The next night, the reflection had bruises. The night after that, it started banging on the glass. The fever went away. The dreams, single quotes. To one night, I took sleeping pills to try and just blank out my sleep, but it's pulled me back faster. I was in the corridor again, but something had changed. This time, the first door was slightly ajar. The words "do not open" were fading, as if time had worn them down. I tried not to look, but I felt cold air seeping from the gap, carrying a smell that reminded me of rotting flowers and something metallic like a hospital that had been closed for decades. Still, I went through the third door, as always. This time, the room was no longer full of mirrors, it was full of beds, dozens, metal frames, all occupied. Each bed had a version of me lying in it. Some were older, some younger, badly injured, all asleep except one. That version of me sat upright and looked directly at me. He spoke. "You've been here before. You left the second door open." I woke up gagging, drenched in sweat, and there were bloody footprints bare, human leading from my bedroom door to the foot of my bed. I live alone. I checked every window, every lock. Nothing was broken, nothing forced. I didn't sleep the next night. The one after that, I passed out from exhaustion. This time, I was forced through the first door. Asterisk behind the first door was nothing, just blackness. No floor, no walls, just infinite space and a single figure standing there, thin, tall, not human. Its face was covered in cloth, like bandages soaked in ink, and its hands were made of keys, rusted, dangling, clicking constantly. It pointed behind me. I turned. The second door was now wide open, in the middle of this black void. Inside it, I saw my bedroom. Not the dream version, the real one, and someone, crawling out from under my bed. I watched in silent horror as a pale hand gripped the floorboards and pulled itself out. It's a version of me, but not quite me. Its mouth was open, too wide. Its eyes were just black pits. It looked at the real me sleeping in bed and whispered, "This time, I'll stay." I screamed, but my voice didn't come out. I woke up gasping. This time, my bedroom door was missing. Not open, not broken. Gone. But it was a blank wall, and written in dust, right above where the door should have been, were the words, "Greater than. You chose the wrong door." That was 3 days ago. I haven't slept since. Not because I'm scared of the dream, because I'm not sure which version of me woke up. I've never been one to remember dreams, maybe the occasional fall or flying moment, but that changed after I moved into this new flat in Gurugram. It started small. Every night at around 3 a.m., I would wake up suddenly, not from a nightmare. Awake, heart pounding, but no dream to recall. I'd look around, see the same beige ceiling, a street light cutting through my window blinds. And then this is what really messed with my here breathing. Not mine. I live alone. But the breathing would come from just below my bed. Shallow, rhythmic, as if someone was sleeping down there. At first I thought it was just in my head. Or maybe the neighbors through the walls. But one night, I leaned over the bed, holding my phone flashlight, and whispered, "Hello?" The breathing stopped. I didn't sleep that night. That's when the dream started. In the dream, I'm lying on my bed, unable to move. I can see myself from above us, if my spirit is hovering a few feet above my body. The room is exactly the same, except that something is crawling out from under the bed. Slowly, crawling like it doesn't want to wake. Me, I never see its face. Just its hand. Long fingers, dirty nails, grayish skin, almost moldy looking. It places one finger on my chest. And then I wake up, gasping. But each time I wake, the finger still feels like it's there. Asterisk, I started sleeping during the day, just to avoid the night. But it didn't help. The dreams followed. One particular night, I had what I thought was a regular dream. I was walking down the hallway of my flat, except the lights were flickering and all the clocks in the place read 3:08 at .m. In the dream, Cray tried to leave the house, but the door wouldn't open. I looked through the peephole and saw myself standing in the hallway, looking right back at me. Only my reflection was smiling, ear to ear, while I wasn't. I turned around and saw the bedroom door wide open. The breathing was louder this time, more labored, choked, like something old and dying was under there, struggling to stay alive. I stepped inside the room. That's when the dream shifted. I woke up in my bed, relieved, or so I thought. The sun was out, birds chirping. I got up, brushed my teeth, went into the kitchen and found my own dead body hanging in the pantry, face swollen, tongue out. My own eyes stared at me, and then my corpse whispered, "Greater than you're still dreaming. It's under the bed." I screamed myself, awake again, drenched in sweat, sun still down. It's 3:08 a.m. only this time, when I looked down. My bedsheet had been pulled all the way to the floor, as if something had crawled out. Asterisk, I started recording myself as I slept. I didn't want to, but I needed proof. Placed my phone on my desk, recording overnight. Next morning, I reviewed the footage from 2:59 a.m. to 3:17 a.m. Nothing. Change. My blanket lifted slightly, no wind, no movement. Just a tug, like fingers grabbing from underneath. At 3:08 a.m., my body jerked upright while I was still asleep, eyes wide open, but I wasn't awake. I was staring straight ahead, breathing heavily, muttering something in a low tone. I looped the audio, slowed it down. I was saying, "Don't go under. Don't go under. Don't go under." Then, a shadow appears from under the bed. A long, slow-moving silhouette stretching up toward the mattress. And then, the video cuts out. My phone crashed. The recording corrupted. Last night, I didn't sleep. I fought it. Chugged coffee, chewed ice, paced like a madman. But at 3:08 a.m., I blinked dot when I opened my eyes. Wooden slats above, dust in my mouth. Breathing my own was muffled, and across from me, another face appeared. Wide, toothless grin, same moldy skin. Its face moved inches from mine and whispered, "Greater than now, it's your turn." I woke up on the floor, beneath my bed, and someone had written in chalk across the wood above me, "Sleep is where we trade." Now when I wake, I'm not always sure I'm me, because something is sleeping in my place.